Hi, my name is Hank Giesecke. I'm the president of the Yavapai Tea Party here in Prescott, Arizona. And I want to speak to you about something that I think all of us need to be aware of, but many of us are not. And the issue is Agenda 21. So wherever you are that you're hearing this, I really encourage you to get familiar with the whole issue of Agenda 21. What is Agenda 21? It's the UN program to implement what they call sustainable development. And sustainable development is another one of these United Nations programs that talks about eliminating private property, because we want the common good kind of idea. And two is to control and limit human action all over the place. And I'll talk about that a little bit. It's the antithesis of the foundation of our nation, where George Washington was quoted as saying private property and freedom are inseparable. And that's absolutely true. So we need to be very cautious about this. And Agenda 21 is coming along, this whole sustainable development idea sounds good, and it's coming along in many different forms. It may come to your city as what they call ICLEI, which is the International Council on Local Environmental Initiatives. And your city mayor and city council people need to be very aware of that. Freedom Advocates has a couple of great booklets that you need to get on this to again, let your elected officials, both at the state and local level, be aware of this Agenda 21, because it's very much of a stealth kind of approach that's coming along. And to quote Maurice Strong, he's a buddy of Gorbachev's, and Gorbachev is very much into this. As you know, Gorbachev is one of the Russian leaders. And Maurice Strong was quoted recently as saying, "Current lifestyles and consumption patterns of the affluent middle class," that means you and me, "involving high meat intake, use of fossil fuels, appliances, home and work air conditioning, and suburban housing are not sustainable." And you've got to think, are these people out of their minds? I mean, it's one of those things where if you remember back several years ago, a guy wrote a book talking about a population bomb, that suddenly by 2000, people would be starving en masse all over the world. Well, it didn't work that way, did it? Because free markets came along, and guess what? They picked up the slack, and we produce all kinds of food. There's all kinds of energy out there. So we have to be very careful about this. In some respects, smart growth is part of this. This wildlands project that is part of Agenda 21 is talking about rewilding half of the landmass of the United States. And the idea is that there would be places, half the country, where humans would not be allowed to go at all. Why is this? Because they have this utopian idea that somehow we can go back to being cavemen, I think, and wander around, eat bark and leaves and so forth like that, and everything's kind of like it was, 10 centuries ago. So it's one of those things we have to be very careful about. Agenda 21 comes along, and they have what they call these stakeholder councils, and it excludes specifically we the people. It's one of those things where they kind of come in, they start talking to your local officials, and they convince them to put in these non-binding, at first, non-binding rules and laws about regulations on your house, regulations on what's going on in terms of your community, parks, all this sort of stuff. But soon then it becomes law. And so you, for example, and we are all aware of this administration's way over-regulation of everything in this nation. So that's just another aspect of this whole tyranny, if you will, that's coming along. The 3 E's, they call it, of tyranny. First is equity. This whole idea that there's a common good and individuals don't matter. Well, it's known by a very common name called communism, and that's very much a part of this whole Agenda 21 plan that they're doing. The economy, they're talking a lot, and when you hear the term public-private partnerships, a flag needs to go up. Because what that means is it's basically crony capitalism, where governments come along and they talk to these companies and they give them special deals, compensation, whatever, to do what the government wants. Well, that first off is violating the rule of law, where everybody is under the same rules. That's one of the foundations of our nation, and is what made it so great. So these kind of little special side deals are not good for us. Also, of course, the environment. We know that this global warming farce has been going on for a long period of time. It has nothing to do with global warming. It has to do with control. And what they're trying to do is to control your energy use, my energy use, you know, what kind of light bulbs we have. Crazy stuff. I mean, we've got so much energy out there that we haven't developed yet. It's just mind-boggling. Anyway, here in Prescott, I want to also announce for those people that in the area is that a new documentary on Agenda 21 has been put out. And for those of you that aren't in the Prescott area, the title of it is Behold a Pale Horse. And it's hosted by the famous Charlie Daniels. If you're not in our area and can't come on March 23rd to see our showing of it, please find it. You can get it on the internet. Your local tea parties may have it. And basically what it is, it's talking about Agenda 21. We will be showing it here at a free showing. So if you're local here, it's free showing. It'll be Saturday, March the 23rd at Living Faith Christian Center at 7225 North Coyote Springs Road in Prescott Valley. And we'll be showing both the documentary, but also we'll be having some speakers. There'll be several of us that are talking on the specifics of this. Senator Russell Pierce, Lori Klein, myself, and so forth, to give, you know, kind of some details about what you can and can't do. Because if nothing else, I think the issue we all face is that all of us, we the people, need to start standing up. Otherwise, we're going to be absolutely run over like a steamroller. So if you're in the area again for Saturday, March 23rd, I ask you to bring your friends, bring co-workers, bring family. If you have any questions here in the local area, you can dial 636-7355, or you can email. There's an email that you can ask questions, and it's sgcater@aol.com. So you can either call that number here in the Prescott area, or you can get on that website or that email and ask questions as we go forth. So again, we look forward to seeing you if you're local here. If not, look and find Behold a Pale Horse documentary hosted by Charlie Daniels, and really get yourself informed in terms of what Agenda 21 is all about. As I say, we will have these Freedom Advocate booklets, and I urge you to get those as well. So again, thank you. God bless America.